Hi guys, it's Mrs. C. How are you doing? Welcome back from spring break. I wanted to introduce today's lesson. I'm going to present the lesson on this video, and then you guys will use, fourth graders will use Seesaw to upload your lesson, and fifth graders will do it through Canvas. But this week we're going to be talking about surrealism. That is an art movement that I think is very fitting for the time that we find ourselves in now. So I'm going to switch to my slideshow. Hello, I miss you all so much. Okay, surrealism. The bat is hanging upside down. He's saying, "What is surrealism?" And the guy that's weirdly sticking out from the wall with an apple over his face says, "Doesn't that bat know that it's a 20th century avant-garde movement in art and literature which sought to release the creative potential of the unconscious mind, for example, by the irrational juxtaposition of images, face palm, hashtag okay boomer bat." Well, that was a bunch of word soup right there. You may or may not have understood that, but basically, surrealist art is weird with a capital W, and that's what they were after. They were after art that reflected dreams. They wanted to unlock our creativity, and they thought that they could do that by trying to capture what was going on in dreams. So here are some facts about surrealism. It was an art movement, and it began in the 1920s. Artists were very interested in exploring the imagination. This is the time when psychology was just starting to develop as a field. So there's a lot of people thinking about what goes on inside the human mind. And that's kind of where this art movement came out of. Surrealists thought that they could take images from the mind and the dream and turn them into art. It was a big thing where people kept notebooks by their beds and wrote down what dreams they had, and then they would use that for their art. Nature, again, was a very common theme in art. Over here to the right, we see this is a famous painting by Salvador Dali. It's got the melting clocks in it. You probably have seen that. It's called The Persistence of Memory. So then here we have a famous artist. The man from our first slide here, if you look at the guy with the hat on and look at the outline of the guy and go back here, we see the same man. Well, Rene Magritte is the artist, and he was a little obsessed with this image of the man, and this is called a bowler hat. So he was a painter who created really beautiful and strange pieces of work. Sometimes he would do cutouts of this guy, and you could see that's what we have here. It's like he's almost a window shape, and you can look through him and see the landscape inside. Sometimes he would have a person, same kind of shape, but the face would be covered up. Here's the apple from the other image. Here's a bird. This guy was also a little bit obsessed with black umbrellas. So you see a lot of black umbrellas in his work. And there are a lot of times where, yes, he uses repetition. The same things repeated over and over and over again. The everyday objects that are juxtaposed or contrasted with weird, dreamy kind of objects or things that don't fit, like this big giant apple in a little room. That was kind of a hallmark of the surrealist style, and especially Rene Magritte. Now, Salvador Dali was probably one of the most famous surrealist artists, or at least now he's one of the ones we think of the most famous. And his mustache was one of the most famous things of the whole movement. Interesting fact, you can see in this little blurb, he claimed to receive messages from outer space through his mustache. He was a little wackadoodle, as you can see in his eyes. And I think you guys have heard me say before, I enjoy the wackadoodle. I like learning about weird things, and I like seeing that people are free to be themselves, even if themselves are a little weird, which Dali certainly was. He loved getting people's attention by being strange, and in his everyday life, he would do really strange things just to try and make an impact. And his art was very much the same. He really dreamy quality to them. I was up at the Art Institute of Chicago last spring break. Of course, I didn't go anywhere this spring break, but last spring break we went and visited the Art Institute of Chicago, and there's a whole room of surrealist art. And um, boy, after you walk out of the room and you look at a whole gallery of artworks that look a lot like this, you just kind of sit down and shake your head. And I had myself a big cup of coffee and tried to get back to reality. So here is another surrealist artist. This one, she's pretty popular right now, and you probably have heard of her. She's Frida Kahlo. She was a Mexican artist, and she was really known for her self-portraits. And her artwork's really cool because she takes a lot of traditional Mexican, Hispanic images, floral patterns in nature, big, bright, bold shapes and colors, and she incorporates them into the surrealist kind of style. So I think she's super cool. Plus, it's really fun to learn about women making art. She had an interesting life, very interesting life. She was married to another painter, Diego Rivera, and she was sick and had a car accident, and she had a lot of injuries. So she kind of looked at the world in a different way because she didn't live a quote unquote normal life. She was more open to looking at the world through a different lens. So what are we doing this week? Well, you kind of have a two-part assignment. The first part of your assignment is going to be to go to this website. It's tate.org. You could search up Tate Kids and get to the website. But if you want to follow this link right up here, I'll also put the link on Seesaw and Canvas so you can get right to it. This link will take you right to the page. At the top, you should see surrealism. And then right down here is a little video. It asks the question, what has a lobster got in common with a telephone? Find out here. So this is a short, I think it's like a 2-minute video, and explains a little bit more about surrealism. And then I want you guys to do a little bit of exploring on this website. So you can go to, on the Explore button, if you click on the Explore button, you're going to come up with a whole scrollable website, and it's got a bunch of the different artists that have artwork at the Tate Museum on there. And you can click on them, but I want you guys to go to the Salvador Dali link. You can click right on that. It's going to take you to a page where you can read about Dali and then also see some more of his artworks. He is an interesting man. And one thing I really like about this remote learning is that I'll have the chance to introduce you guys to even more artists, I think. So then your assignment is to create a surrealist collage. One type of artwork that surrealists really like to do, they like to play a lot of games, and they like to play games to increase their creativity. So they would purposely take things that didn't belong together and stick them in the same picture together. These are some student examples, but you can also, in the reading that you are going to be doing, you'll see some examples of the Salvador Dali's collage work, but they love to do things where they were sticking things together that didn't belong. Like this one is a student's example, but it's an animal that's created out of bits and pieces of all different animals. So spider legs, a giraffe, butterfly, turtle, elephant. This one is a collage, and you see there's a tiny little baby head on the bird, and a lady with a fox head that's leaning up against the twig there that the bird is sitting on. And this one has a manta ray and a little gecko and an apple in front of a desert background with a finger. So again, these collages, this one's drawn, and these two are just cutouts of different magazine pages, but they're meant to put things together that don't belong together, and they can tell a story, or they just can kind of be meant to make you think. But so your assignment is to create a collage. Whether you draw it or you cut it out of magazines or papers that you have laying around, it's up to you. But since we are doing this for 4th and 5th grade, we I'll get to how you upload it in a second. But the materials that you can use, first of all, you can draw in marker, pencil, crayon, colored pencil, anything you have at your house. If all you have is pencil, that's fine, draw in pencil. But if you're going to do the animal drawing especially, you may want to add some color to it with pencil, crayon, or even paint it. For the collage, you could use images that you draw. You can take things out of magazines or newspapers or even books. Please ask your parents, no matter what you pick up, unless you know it's yours and you don't have to ask them if it's okay to cut up. Ask them if they've got a stack of magazines or some newspapers or things that they don't mind that you cut pictures out of, or even scrap paper that you have laying around. Maybe it's papers that you took home from school that are from an old assignment, or even one of your old art papers, or maybe those mailed advertisements, the little like mailers that have coupons and things in them. Please, if it isn't your own paper, do ask your parents or your brother or your sister or whomever if you can use it. Also, don't worry about gluing it down. If you have glue for your collage and you want to glue it down, that's fine. But you can cut your images out, lay them down on your paper, and then take a picture without ever gluing it down, and that's just fine. So how do you turn it in? Okay, for fourth graders, this is how you're going to turn it in. You're going to turn it in just like we always do with Seesaw. So you'll take a picture of your completed work, and then you're going to go to your class's art page on Seesaw and click on the activity link. And then you're going to click on the add response button. Please remember to do the step. This gathers all of the assignments that you guys turn in one place for me, and it makes it a lot easier to grade. And also remember, once your collage is uploaded, look at that folder icon underneath your journal entry and make sure that you click on it and look for the purple portfolio button that's listed by your last name. So fourth graders, that's for you. Fifth graders, you are going to turn it on Canvas. So you will go to your Canvas assignment and there's an upload option there. You're just going to take a picture either of your drawing or of your collage, and then you're going to upload it. Please, for this project, do not do any online drawings. I don't want you using DoodleBuddy or any other drawing apps, whatever you fifth graders have on your computers. I want this to be something that you hand draw. Again, if it's pencil, that's fine with me. I'd like you to add color, but if you don't have anything to color with, that's fine. But I don't want you to do any online drawings for this activity. As always, if you have questions, you can email me, or you can reach out on Seesaw, or you could schedule a Skype session. I'd love to talk to you face-to-face about it too. So your choice. My office hours are 8 to 2, and I will be around, ready to help you out if you have any questions. Have fun, guys.